Hello, everybody. Bad Weather Freak here. I have another update for you regarding the 2020 hurricane season. Today is July 23rd, 2020, and it is 8:01 a.m. And we have a couple of systems to talk about to update you guys on. First of course, we got Tropical Storm Gonzalo from my last since my last update. Of course, has strengthened into a tropical storm, and right now it's actually almost a hurricane. So let's take a look at Gonzalo. At the latest update from the National Hurricane Center, and basically the Hurricane Center is saying as of 8 o'clock this morning, it's saying that Gonzalo continues westward. Hurricane watch issue for San Vincent and the Grenadines, not San Grenadines. So San Vincent and the Grenadines. So the government of Barbados has issued a hurricane watch for San Vincent and the Grenadines. The summary of the watches, basically, Barbados is also under hurricane watch, San Vincent and Grenadines. So what is a hurricane watch? So for people that don't know, what is the difference between a watch and a warning? Well, so far they're under a watch, and the watch basically means that hurricane conditions are possible within the watch area. And this watch is actually issued 48 hours before the anticipated first occurrence of tropical storm force winds and conditions that make outside preparations difficult or dangerous. Now, anybody under the Windward Islands should monitor the progress of the system. And additional watches or warnings will likely be required for some of these islands later today. Now, as of 8 a.m., Gonzalo is basically moving west at 12 miles per hour. A general westward motion at a faster forward speed is expected today, followed by a turn west-northwest on Saturday. So basically, on the current motion or speed and the way the track that is moving, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, the center of Gonzalo will approach the Windward Islands late Friday and Saturday. Now, right now, it has winds of 65 miles per hour with higher gusts, and strengthening is forecasted during the next couple of days, and Gonzalo could become a hurricane later today. Now, it's a small hurricane, so actually the winds are the tropical storm winds. The field is actually 35 miles, so it's a very small system. It reminds me of Hurricane Beryl in 2018. It was actually a very similar track and developed around the same area, but it was very small, just like this one here. Now, the estimated minimal central pressure is 997, so slowly it's actually getting stronger. Now, what are some of the effects that could happen during on those islands? Well, rain accumulations of 2 to 5 inches with isolated maximum amounts of 7 inches in Barbados. So it's actually going to move south of Barbados. Let me go back here so you guys can see it. If you look here, Barbados is basically the first area that's highlighted pink. First, I mean, moving from east to west. So it's going to move south, but then the other islands like Grenadines and St. Vincent, that's why they're also under hurricane watch, because so let me just draw this here for you. So here is Barbados, and here are the Grenadine and St. Vincent, the islands. Now, this is interesting. I mentioned yesterday it survives this here, and it moves around here. Basically, it has a pretty good chance of continuing alive, and so far it seems like that might be the case. And based on the current track, it looks like it's going to move south also of Jamaica. So if it doesn't interact with land in Jamaica, again, we could have a potentially a worse storm if it doesn't dissipate, how some of the models are expecting as soon as it hits south of Puerto Rico. But we'll see what happens. But so far, if you guys are in Barbados, you're under hurricane watch. If you are in Grenadines and Vincent and pretty much any of these islands, you got to be prepared. You got to be ready. And even this small one down here too. So you got to be ready, because still has plenty of time, and the models have proven wrong many times. So having still like 2 full days to keep strengthening, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a decent strong hurricane. But so far, it's not looking like that might be the case. But you never know. Now let's take a look at the wind probability. So as you can see, even though it's moving south of Barbados, you're still gonna have a decent amount of winds around this area. And now, of course, once it moves further out, you're still gonna have this area here, like these deeper colors here. Those are actually going to be stronger winds. So you pretty much have high probability of getting a decent amount of winds. Now the arrival again about Saturday morning. So at least when it makes landfall, it's gonna be at least for St. Vincent and Grenadines, it seems like it's going to be a landfall in the morning. For Barbados, might be overnight. So that's one of the things. But a lot of these hurricanes, they tend to make landfall overnight for whatever reason. But it looks like for the majority of the Lesser Antilles, it's going to be during the day. Now, let's read the key messages regarding this. Well, this is actually in Spanish. Now, there is an increased risk of wind and rain impacts from Gonzalo in proportion of the southern windward islands in this weekend. Hurricane conditions are possible in Barbados, where a hurricane watch has been issued. Interest in the southern windward islands should monitor the progress of Gonzalo and follow any advice given by local officials. So again, that's approximate. Things may change, and he could continue strengthening, which is one of the things that is highly possible. Now let's move on to Tropical Depression 8, sitting in the middle of the Gulf. Now for the Tropical Depression 8, let's see what the National Hurricane said at the 7 o'clock update. So the depression is moving west-northwest. Heavy rains likely over a portion of Texas by this weekend. So one of the things you guys got to keep in mind is Texas doesn't need much rain to really flood. We know for history that even just a tropical storm has caused tremendous amount of damage and flooding in Texas. So that's something that it doesn't need a category 3, 4, or 5 hurricane to really dump a lot of rain. A simple tropical storm can do that. And we have seen with Harvey and other storms how much bad flooding has happened in Texas. But regarding Tropical Depression 8, it's moving west-northwest again, and heavy rains is expected for Texas this weekend. And it has sustained winds of 30 miles per hour. It's moving at 9 miles an hour west-northwest. And the minimum pressure, central pressure, is 1,007 millibars. Now, a tropical storm watch is actually in effect for Port Mansfield to High Island, Texas. So if you guys live in this area, there's possibility that eventually you guys, especially in the islands, or Barrier Island in Texas, that most likely they will require a evacuation. So keep an eye for that. As a tropical storm watch means that there's going to be tropical conditions within 48 hours. Elsewhere along the Texas and Louisiana coast should monitor the progress of the system. Now, as of 7 a.m. update, like I said, this moving 9 miles per hour west-northwest, and is expected during the next few days. On the forecast, the center of the depression is expected to move across the northwestern Gulf of Mexico today and Friday, and make landfall along the Texas coast on Saturday. So slow strengthening is expected, and the depression could become a tropical storm in a day or two. Now, as far as the impacts, so far wind is not an issue, but rainfall expected 3 to 5 inches and 8 inches through some areas of Gulf Coast from Louisiana to the lower Texas coast and inland, like the Rio Grande Valley. So those are some of the things that we have regarding Tropical Depression 8. Let's take a look at it's not 8. This one here. So as you can see, the highlighted yellow area, that's actually all of you that has to be paying attention, because there's a possibility that the storm can move. So anywhere in that area, not just because it's pinpointed at one specific area, doesn't mean it's going to stay there. So all this area here, you all have to be prepared, because it could move. You can move anywhere within that area. And now let's talk about also Hurricane Douglas in the Pacific. Hurricane Douglas in the Pacific actually is a major hurricane already. And the Hawaiian Islands, it seems like they're gonna get a direct hit. Now, right now they don't know if it's as a hurricane or as a tropical storm, but they're still gonna feel the effects of Douglas. As of 11 p.m. update, which it was the last update, we have Douglas moving west-northwestward at near 70 miles an hour, so it's moving kind of fast, and it's expected to continue through Saturday. It has almost winds of 120 miles, and this was at 11 p.m., so I'm pretty sure actually that is probably higher. Let's take a look. Let me see if I can see a different kind of graphs here so you guys can see. Let me see. Yeah, I was gonna. I can show you some of the things regarding Gonzalo and the other one. Because on satellite they're not looking pretty good. So this is actually 91L, or not 91L. It used to be 91L. Now it's Tropical Depression 8. So some convection is firing up, but it's poorly organized. And even Gonzalo looks actually pretty terrible this morning too. So you guys can see how it's having a hard time. Gonzalo's basically this right here, this mess. So it's having a hard time, even though it's strengthening, it's looking pretty poorly organized. But this is actually some of these spaghetti models. And again, the black line represents where it's moving. So just about all of the models take it probably to the Gulf, which is something we need to keep an eye on and be prepared for possible more issues. But as you can see here, the majority of the forecast models, they're pretty much all of them take it to a hurricane strength. Then you have a few that take it to like category 2, and one odd one that takes it all the way up to almost a category 4. Now let me go back to Tropical Tidbits, because that's a pretty good site, and let's take a look at what I intended to show you, which it was Douglas. See, look how impressive Douglas looks on satellite. It is well-defined eye. Very round, very symmetrical. You see the eye right there. All the deep red colors. So it's very healthy right now. And thankfully, it's moving away from land. By the time it makes it to Hawaii, it's pretty much going to be a weak hurricane, or possibly even not even a hurricane. But so far, guys, that's all I have for you at the moment. That's an update on the 2020 hurricane season regarding Hurricane Douglas in the Pacific, Tropical Depression 8, and Gonzalo, soon to be today a hurricane. Take care, guys. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you for all the people who have been subscribing lately. Really appreciate it. I want to keep growing this channel and keep bringing to you guys more and more information. If you have any comments, any suggestions, put them in the comment section, and see you next time.